everyone. Ready to dive into a merger that has the visual content world buzzing. We're talking about two giants you definitely know, Getty Images.
Yeah,
You know, those iconic photos you see everywhere, news, ads, you name it.
absolutely. Instantly recognizable.
And of course, Shutterstock, the go-to platform for anyone needing the perfect image or video.
Can't forget them.
Well, get this. On January 7th, 2025, they dropped a bombshell press release.
Oh,
They're merging.
wow.
And not just any merger, they're calling it a merger of equals.
Interesting.
The combined company is keeping the Getty Images name and trading under the ticker symbol GEY. Buckle up, because by the end of this deep dive, you'll understand why this is a big deal and what it might mean for the future of, well, everything visual online.
Sounds like a fascinating one.
First things first, let's break down this merger of equals thing. Is it just fancy corporate jargon or what?
Right. Good question. It's definitely more nuanced than, say, a straight-up acquisition where one company just swallows the other.
Right.
In this case, both Getty Images and Shutterstock are bringing their A game. They're presenting this as a true partnership. But there is a little caveat.
I was going to say, there's always a but.
Craig Peters, the current CEO of Getty Images, will be the CEO of the combined company.
Okay, so Getty CEO stays on top.
Yeah. And while the new board will have members from both sides, the majority will be from Getty Images.
So maybe not perfectly equal, but still a collaborative effort for sure. Now let's talk money, Velby. The combined enterprise value is a whopping $3.7 billion. That's not chump change. What kind of signal does that send to the market?
That's a big number. It shows the market really believes in the potential of this merger. It's saying they think the combined company will not only keep its market share, but actually grow even bigger. Think about it. $3.7 billion. That's a bet on them driving revenue and profits in a world that's, well, becoming more and more visual every day.
So it's basically saying this merger creates a visual content titan. Now, let's not forget about the synergies. They're projecting some serious cost savings, somewhere between $150 million to $200 million annually by year 3.
That's significant.
We know synergies often means job losses, but what else could it involve?
Sadly, you're right about the jobs. But it goes beyond that. Think streamlining operations, maybe consolidating offices, even integrating their tech platforms. It's about becoming more efficient, more cost-effective, which, could eventually affect the pricing and availability of visual content for everyone.
So it's not just about cutting costs, but becoming leaner and meaner for the future. And of course, they're projecting boosted earnings and cash flow starting in year 2. Music to any investor's ears, right? Makes the stock more tempting.
Definitely.
Speaking of investors, let's talk about what's in it for the Shutterstock shareholders. Sounds like they've got some decisions to make.
For sure. They've got 3 options for each of their Shutterstock shares. First, they can take 28.84877 in cash.
Option 1, cash.
Or they can go for 13.67237 shares of Getty Images stock.
Option 2, stock.
Or a mix of both, 9.17 shares of Getty Images stock, plus $9.50 in cash.
Okay, a little bit of both.
Right. Of course, there's this thing called proration to make sure the cash and stock stay balanced. So ultimately, it'll lead to an ownership split of 54.7% for Getty Images stockholders and 45.3% for Shutterstock stockholders once everything's final.
Got it. So Shutterstock folks have some choices to make, but the real question is, why merge at all? What's the grand scheme behind this visual content power couple?
Now we're getting to the good stuff. The press release gives us hints, but it's up to us to connect the dots. One key phrase that jumps out is innovation powerhouse.
Yes. They're talking about pouring resources into creating new types of content,
Right.
covering more events, developing cutting-edge tech like advanced search, 3D imagery, even getting into AI-generated visual.
They're building a visual content arsenal for the future, for sure.
It's like they're assembling an army of pixels.
By combining forces, they're putting themselves at the forefront of all these advancements. Think about it.
Yeah.
Individually, they might have struggled to invest in research at this scale.
Makes sense.
But together, they can pool their expertise and, well, their money to push boundaries and try new things.
So it's not just about being bigger, it's about being bolder and smarter.
Exactly.
They also highlight their complementary portfolios. Makes me think about how massive and diverse their combined visual library will be.
That's the key. Getty Images and Shutterstock each had their strengths. Getty, known for those iconic, almost editorial-style images,
Right.
while Shutterstock catered to a broader audience, more diverse styles, and often a more budget-friendly option. By merging, They're creating a one-stop shop for practically any visual need.
Like a visual content supermarket.
Exactly. It could be a game changer, not just for customers, but for the creators themselves. Photographers, videographers, illustrators, everyone.
More exposure, more opportunities.
Absolutely.
And of course, there's that financial muscle we talked about.
Oh, yeah. The combined company will be in a much stronger position, managing debt, maybe getting better loan terms, and having more capital to invest in growth.
It's like leveling up, big time. But what does this mean for the future of online visuals? Well, that's exactly what we'll be digging into in part 2 of this deep dive. So stay tuned.
You know, this merger could really shake things up in the whole stock content industry.
Yeah, like throwing a big rock into a pond. We're talking about pricing, competition, even what happens to the smaller players out there.
One of the biggest questions is about pricing. Will prices go up because there's less competition? Or will those efficiency gains from the merger actually lead to, better prices for everyone?
It's a tough one to predict. Will they use their size to drive prices up, or will they be super competitive because they're so efficient? It's almost like a chess game trying to figure out their strategy.
Right, and then there's the whole competition question. Can smaller stock photo agencies survive against this giant? Will they have to specialize, find little niches, maybe even team up with each other to stay in the game?
It's a classic David and Goliath situation, but in the world of visuals this time. And this isn't happening in a vacuum. We're seeing this kind of consolidation in lots of industries, right?
Absolutely. It's a sign of the times. Companies are feeling the pressure to get bigger, to gain that edge in a global market.
It's adapt or die, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
It reminds me of something they said in the press release, rapid rise in demand for compelling visual content. It's like we can't get enough visuals these days.
That's so true. We're bombarded with images and videos constantly. Social media, advertising, online shopping, everything's visual now.
It's like a picture really is worth 1,000 words, especially online.
And that hunger for visuals? It's only going to get bigger. As technology changes, as new platforms pop up, think about the metaverse, VR, AR, they all need visuals, high-quality ones, to really work.
This merger puts Getty and Shutterstock in a prime position to shape those visuals in those new worlds. They're not just reacting to the demand, they're thinking ahead.
That's where it gets really interesting. One of the areas they're investing heavily in is generative AI.
Generative AI sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie. What exactly is it, and how could it change the stock photography world?
So generative AI is basically using artificial intelligence to create new content. Instead of photographers and designers, it's AI generating images, videos, even 3D models, just from prompts, from descriptions.
So, like, I could type in a photo of a cat wearing a spacesuit on Mars, and the AI would just make it.
Exactly. It's pretty mind-blowing, the possibilities. For stock photography, this could be a big challenge or a big opportunity. It could disrupt the whole model of photographers taking pictures and selling them.
Right, because if AI can just make a picture of anything, do we even need human photographers?
That's the question, isn't it? But it could also give creators new tools to enhance their work, to create even more unique stuff.
So it's like AI handles the technical side, and humans can focus on the creativity, the story.
Exactly. For the combined Getty Images and Shutterstock, this tech could be a game changer. They're talking about integrating it into their platforms, giving users tools to customize and personalize the visuals.
So like users become co-creators, making the visuals exactly what they need.
Yes, and this brings us to a bigger point about the future of visuals. It's not just about quantity anymore. It's about quality, relevance, and personalization. In a world full of visuals, the ones that stand out are the ones that are tailored, the ones that hit you emotionally.
So it's not enough to just have tons of pictures. It's about having the right picture at the right time for the right person.
Exactly, and that's where this merger could be so powerful. They're combining their huge libraries with this AI tech. They're going to be leaders in this new era of personalized visuals.
Okay, let's step back for a second. We've covered a lot. Financials, pricing, competition, even this deep dive into AI-generated visuals.
This merger is more than just two companies joining forces. It's a real turning point for the whole visual content world.
It's a powerhouse, for sure. But it also raises some important questions about the future of the industry.
Like, what happens to the creators themselves? Can smaller agencies survive? And what will technology like generative AI really mean for the visuals we see every single day?
Those are the questions we'll be tackling in the final part of our deep dive. Stay tuned because things are about to get even more interesting. All right, we're back. Time to wrap up our deep dive into this Getty Images and Shutterstock merger. I gotta say, I'm still processing all these potential changes and what it could mean.
Yeah, it's a lot. We went from the financial stuff to like the philosophical side of AI-generated art.
Yeah.
But that's what makes this whole thing so fascinating, right? It's more than just a business deal. It's a window into the future of visual content, period.
Exactly. So let's zoom in on one of the big questions. What does this merger mean for the creators, the photographers, the videographers, the illustrators, all the artists who, well, they make this industry what it is?
Right, that's the million-dollar question.
Mm-hmm.
Some people might say this merger makes it harder for a new artist to get noticed.
Mm-hmm.
The combined company will have a gigantic library. It's tough to stand out when you're up against that.
It's like trying to get your song heard when everyone has access to every song ever made.
Exactly. But here's the thing. This merger isn't just about getting bigger. It's also about investing in new things, new formats, new tech, new ways to reach people. And that could actually create new opportunities for artists who have something unique to offer.
So maybe it's not about fitting in, it's about standing out even more. Like if AI is going to do the technical stuff, maybe that frees up human artists to be even more creative.
Right. Imagine a world where photographers aren't limited by, reality. They can work with AI to create totally surreal, dreamlike images, things we've never seen before.
It's like art breaking the sound barrier. We're not just capturing what's real, we're creating something entirely new.
Exactly, and that's exciting. And it brings us to a bigger point about how visual content is evolving. It's not just about capturing a moment anymore. It's about telling a story, making people feel something, creating an experience.
So it's not enough for a picture to be technically perfect.
Yeah.
It has to have, soul. It has to connect with the viewer.
Totally. And that's where human creativity is still so important, even in this AI age. It's that human touch, the ability to give an image emotion, meaning that's what will make it stand out.
It's like the difference between a computer playing a melody and a person writing a song from the heart. One is technically good, the other actually moves you.
Exactly. I think that's what Getty and Shutterstock are banking on with this merger. They're betting that human creativity is still going to be powerful, even as technology gets more advanced.
So this merger, it's kind of a challenge and an opportunity at the same time. It's challenging creators to push their limits, to find new ways to tell stories that grab people.
Right. And it's also an invitation to embrace the new tech, to see AI as a tool, not a threat.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with this thought. In a world that's overflowing with visuals, the images that will truly make an impact are the ones that stay with us, the ones that make us think, the ones that spark our imagination.
The ones that remind us that human creativity can take something ordinary and make it extraordinary.
Beautifully said. And on that note, we'll leave you to ponder the future of visual content. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time for another fascinating look at the trends shaping our world.